Hey, it's Alicia with Successfilled. I'm so glad you're here. What does it mean to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud? When I read this quote, "Be a rainbow in someone else's cloud" by Maya Angelou, I pictured a beautiful rainbow shining brightly through gray clouds. I love that imagery and I love this quote. Before getting to what it means and how to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud, to learn how to do that, here's a quick fun fact about this quote. Maya Angelou, the renowned writer and civil rights activist, came up with this quote from the lyrics of an African-American 19th century song, which goes, "When it looked like the sun wasn't going to shine anymore, God put a rainbow in the clouds." And the video I saw of her, she sang it very nicely. Singing is not my forte, so I'm going to spare you that, okay? All right. So that was her inspiration for this quote. Now let's get back to the initial question. What does it mean to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud? What it means to me is to act with kindness and compassion when a person or an animal is having a hard time. I include animals because they have feelings too and go through challenging times as well. So I am very much a supporter of animals and treating them well also. So excuse me, but you feel free to do to use this however you would like. All right. And to be clear, so I always think it's a good idea to act towards others in a way that you would want them to act towards you, regardless of whether they're gray clouds or not. It's just as far as this particular thing, as far as how to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud, that's when you do it when you notice someone or an animal, if you so choose, is having a low moment or just some things, they're having some kind of challenge that you've seen. Okay. So, however, when someone is feeling low, it's even more important to try to be a positive light to the situation to help clear away the gray clouds surrounding them. So, I think it's always a good idea to treat others well, just like you would like them to treat you. But when someone's low, sometimes it's really hard for them to get out of that low point, and they need this extra like energy and positive light to help them get out of that. It's another reason why I like this quote, and I like the idea of being a rainbow in somebody else's cloud. All right. Now, as a recap to this point, acting with compassion and kindness in times that are difficult, or, in other words, they have gray clouds around them, is what it means to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. So that's that part. Now, how do you go about being a rainbow in somebody else's cloud? Well, you can do this both with people or animals that you know or don't know. And obviously with animals that you're not familiar with, if you don't know their character, be very, very cautious around them. And so just, obviously use common sense. Don't ever put yourself in danger. This is to be positive and to, help make things better, not worse, especially not for you. Okay. So that said, use common sense, right? Okay, great. Okay. So here is one way to be a rainbow for someone you don't know. Step 1, actively look for a person or an animal who is having a difficult moment. And again, the animal would be, hopefully with a person. Okay. And step 2, identify one way that a person or animal shines. And actually, I just thought of one thing, like, there are a lot of people who do animal rescue and talk about an animal being in a low moment. I mean, if you can rescue an animal, help them get on to their next step, whatever that is, that's awesome. But really, please, I'm, very serious that you do not want to put yourself in danger. If at any time it seems like that, then get additional help in order so that you and everyone is safe. Okay. All right. So step 1, actively look for a person or animal who's having a difficult time, a challenging moment. Step 2, identify one way that a person or animal shines. Now, so, these are some examples of that. Did someone in line let a person with only a few items cut ahead of them? I'm guessing you've either done that or seen that, happen. I think that's pretty cool. So that's something that you can point out, so maybe even though they might seem like they're like in a low spot, but that's even cooler where, they go ahead, even in a challenging moment, they go ahead and they're thinking of someone else. Okay. So, and when it comes to either a pet or a person, is this person who you identified who looks like they might have some kind of challenge? Are they wearing something that you like? You can compliment them on that. Did someone patiently explain something to someone else? So that's always a nice thing that you might have noticed. Did an animal, for example, obey a command or do something cute? Chances are, since it's an animal, at least the cute part probably, applies, right? Okay, so step 1, actively look for a person or animal who's having a difficult time, with the caveat that if it's an animal, be very, very cautious and only approach them if it's safe and appropriate. Okay. And in the case of a person who it's their pet, always ask the person. So if you can approach the pet. So, okay. So there's another thing. All right. And step 1, actively look for a person or animal is having a difficult moment. Step 2, identify one way that a person or an animal shines. Step 3, tell them about the positive thing you noticed. All right. So now you noticed it, so in step 2, you're looking for things to notice something positive, and then you go ahead and let them know. So for example, you say to the person, hey, I just noticed your cool top and wanted to let you know. And if it's an animal, tell the owner and the animal, say it to both of them, the positive thing that you noticed. Sometimes an animal's issue has something to do with the owner. So for example, a positive comment about the person's pet can actually help them both. All right. So that was one way to be a rainbow with people who you don't know, people or animals you don't know. Okay, now here's one way to, and again, caution with animals you don't know, please, please, please be safe. Okay. Now here's one way to be a rainbow in someone's cloud with people who you do know. So, a lot of times this is a much easier thing with someone who you do know, what they're like normally, so you can tell pretty quickly and clearly when something's wrong with them, right? Okay, step 1. Once you are aware that someone you know is having a challenge, ask if they want to talk. So that's step 1. And if it's an animal that you actually know, so these are either people or animals that you know. If it's an animal that you know, and it could even be your own pet, go ahead and comfort them or play with them. If it's someone else's pet, ask them first, and then, if it's okay, and then go ahead and do that. And always, regardless of whether it's your pet or someone else's pet, always be cautious, because if there's something else going on and they're in pain, they could, snap at you or something. So just always be cautious about that. Okay. Please note, and I went through this before, but it's worth repeating. If it's someone else's pet, please ask that person's permission first. And this is another thing, by talking to the owner, you might find that it's the owner that needs help rather than the pet. And if that's the case, go ahead and follow steps 2 and 3, which I'm going to talk about now. Otherwise, just focus on the pet, as long as it's okay with the owner. So, sometimes it's really the owner that needs, the help. Okay, so step 2. So step 1, once you're aware that someone you know is having challenges, ask if they want to talk. So step 2 is, if they don't want to talk, tell them that you'd be happy to talk to them later if they change their minds. And sometimes just knowing that they're not alone can help bring a rainbow, that beautiful rainbow brightness to a gray cloud moment they might be having. Okay. Now this is still step 2. So if they do want to talk, so that first part is if they don't want to talk. Now, if they do want to talk, let them talk and then just listen. Now, after they're done talking, ask them if they just needed to talk or if they would like a potential solution or a next step. Sometimes, people just need to get it off their chest. Okay. If they just wanted to talk, tell them that you hoped listening helped them and that if they want to talk in the future, you would be glad to do that. Now, obviously, if it's someone I'm guessing that that is true. I mean, if for some reason that's not accurate, kind of phrase that a little bit differently. Okay. All right. If they would like help, so if they did want to talk and they do actually want to help instead of just getting it off their chest, then tell them what you thought of for a potential either a next step or a solution to your issue, to their issue. So either way, you might come up with, hey, this is something I thought of that you could do next, or you might have like, a complete solution for them. Okay. And then step 3, end the conversation on a bright spot by telling them that you hope that they get through this quickly, whatever this is that they're dealing with, and in the best way possible. So again, for this one, for people or animals that you do know, step 1, once you're aware that someone is having challenges, ask if they want to talk. And then if they don't want to talk, excuse me, then just let them know that you're happy to talk to them. If they do want to talk, let them talk and listen. And then if they just needed to get it off their chest, tell them you hope that listening helped and you'd be happy to talk in the future if they need it. But if they would like help, go ahead and tell them what you thought of for a potential next step or a potential solution to their issue. And then step 3, end the conversation on a bright spot. You want to leave them with that bright rainbow, beautiful goodness in their gray cloud moment. So there you go. So by following these steps, you will very likely help lighten their load truly, in my mind, as if you are seeing, as if they were seeing a beautiful rainbow peek through gray clouds that are surrounding them. So I think that's a pretty cool thing to do. I really like the imagery. And, it's like with all of these things, it's just if this resonates with you, go for it. How can you go wrong with trying to make somebody's day better, right? I mean, I think it's a pretty awesome thing. So, and when you shine a beautiful positive light, like a beautiful rainbow, on others, it not only lights them up, but it also helps you shine even brighter, right? It helps you feel good about what you're doing. You're creating positive change in the world. I mean, I think that's awesome. So I'd say it's a pretty big win-win, right? Okay. Well, I hope you have fun seeing how you can be a rainbow in somebody else's cloud, and you have so got this. If you'd like more help shining brightly to help others or to help yourself, go ahead and check out my offers on successfilled.com. That's successfilled.com, or the word success and the word filled.com. That's how you spell it. So anyway, bye for now.